Okay, I'm almost there.
What are we doing tonight?
We're going to be looking at chapter 12 tonight. Probably won't take the whole time necessarily, so I also have the review for the next exam as well.
Is that a test or just practice stuff?
It'll just be practice. Yeah, the test on it will be Wednesday next week, I believe. Okay, just need to share this. Okay. Just make sure that this is doing what I need it to do. I think we're good now. So this is going to be chapter 12. This is a relatively short chapter of notes. It actually is the last chapter that we will be covering note-wise for this class. But it's essentially how math and politics relate to each other. And the biggest area where this tends to appear in politics is voting. Basically, different ways of selecting a winner through voting. So the simplest way is just picking the one that has the most votes. If you only have two choices, simply called majority rules there. Some properties, every vote has the same weight. If one vote changed, the result would not change necessarily. And there is symmetry between the candidates. So in other words, if all the votes were reversed, then the loser becomes the winner. Now there are some variations on the majority rule. One is called the supermajority, which requires more than 50%. This tends to show up in the US Senate, where you need 60% of senators in order to, typically it's veto a bill of some kind. So if the president does something and the Senate doesn't like it, they need 60% of all the senators to vote against it. That's one of the checks and balances of the government. And it also shows up in the Electoral College, which is very important when it comes to the presidential election. Now, there's always a preference schedule of some kind. Basically, a voter must rank each choice in order of their preference. So if it would be your first vote, that's your first choice. Second preference would be your second choice. Third preference, third choice, and so on. We'll actually do a preference table here. So I'll show you how this works here. And let's just say we're going to have a little election here on preferred ice cream flavors. Say your choices. If I can get this to cooperate with me. Let's just do vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry as the three flavors you can pick from for this. Let's just go around the room here. How would you vote for that?
Vanilla first, strawberry second, chocolate third.
Okay, so vanilla, strawberry, chocolate,
Same thing.
Same
Same
thing.
thing for me too.
same thing.
For me, strawberry would be last.
Okay. So strawberry would be last,
Yeah, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry.
vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. Okay, so 3 for the first one person for voting this way. Just to make it a little more interesting, I'll put my vote in here too. I would say that as well. Nothing against strawberry, but I just prefer it over chocolate myself. There. So in other words, 3 people voted for vanilla first, then strawberry, then chocolate. 2 people voted vanilla, chocolate, then strawberry. Is how to read this table. And we'll talk about the 5 methods of deciding a winner here when you have 3 or more choices like this. So the first way is plurality. Let's see if I can zoom out just a little bit. The person with the most first place votes is declared the winner. So in the case of our example here, which one has the most first place votes?
Let's see.
What was that?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. Yep, so because vanilla has the most first place votes, which in this case is everybody, vanilla would be declared the winner from plurality. The next method, single or top 2 runoff. The 2 vote getters with the most first place votes face one another. So in other words, that would be vanilla. And then since both of those appear in the first place, that's automatically going to make it vanilla there. If it didn't work out that way, say vanilla was over here, and chocolate was over here, then you would have to compare vanilla and chocolate specifically to determine the winner. From here, sequential runoff. That's when you eliminate the candidate with the fewest first place votes at each stage until one candidate receives a majority of the first place votes. So looking at our preference table here, which one has the fewest first place votes? It's kind of a trick question there.
Is it chocolate?
Yep, we can think chocolate here. So in other words, if we eliminate chocolate from the voting here, because we've established that chocolate is not going to win this, because it has the fewest first place votes and it has the most third place votes. It's another way of thinking about it. So if chocolate's off the table, then now you're down to two candidates, vanilla and strawberry. Looking at just those two, which one wins? Vanilla. So vanilla wins this one again. Any questions so far?
The single runoff, is that kind of like, no, sequential runoff, sorry. Is that kind of like a bracket, like what you would see in like a tournament almost?
Yeah, you could think of it like that. Yeah. If you think like March Madness bracket, that would fall under that.
Or it's just the winner continues to progress? And
Yeah.
then whoever loses gets kicked off?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, the fourth one is going to be a point system. So this would be if you get a first place vote, say it's worth 3 points. Second place would be 2 points. Third place, 1 point. So if we go through each of these flavors, vanilla has how many votes in first place altogether? 5. Each of them are going to be worth,
3, 7, 2.
yep, so 15 points for vanilla. Then we look at strawberry. How many votes in second place? 3. Each of them are worth 2. How many votes in third place? Yep, so those 3 votes would be worth 6. But then strawberry also had 2 votes in third place, right? So that part of it would be,
2 times 1.
yep. Yep, so altogether strawberry has 8 points. And then if we look at chocolate, 3 votes at
2 points each? Or no, sorry,
yep, close.
3 times 3, so 3. 3 votes at 3 at third, so.
Yep, 3 votes in third place, so that'll be 1 point apiece. And then we had 2 votes in second place.
So also 8. Yes. No. I'm sorry, I've had a really weird day.
That's okay.
That just happened.
Yeah. Okay. So then for the point system, which one wins? Vanilla. Strawberry second, and chocolate close by in third. Okay, and then the last type, the pairwise comparisons. Basically, you're going to do matchups with each possibility. Think a bunch of versus battles for this. So think, I'll do this up here, vanilla versus strawberry. If you look at just those two, vanilla and strawberry, how many times does vanilla win over strawberry?
All of them.
All of them. So in this case, vanilla is going to win this one.
So you're only doing the match off based off of the data that's provided.
Yeah. Yep. Or another possibility could be vanilla versus chocolate. Yep, vanilla still wins against the chocolate. And then what's the other thing that we could have?
Strawberry versus chocolate.
Strawberry versus chocolate.
Strawberry wins.
Strawberry wins. So which one wins the most of those?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. So then vanilla would be the winner from this. So because of our voting here, no matter how you looked at it, vanilla wins for this group. Any questions on how any of the 5 methods work? Okay. There are some things to consider with this chapter, with voting. There is a situation with pairwise comparisons that you might get an infinite loop where each of them win one. So then you have no winner. Depending on how you weight your points, you can produce a different winner depending on the weighting. And it's possible that you could get different winners for all methods depending on how the data is. But the point of those 5 methods, none of them are perfect. They each have their pros and cons. The important thing is that you're picking a method that's going to work out the best for you. So no matter how you choose to set up a vote, first thing to consider is fairness. So what I mean by that, if a candidate receives most of the first place votes, that candidate should win. If a candidate is favored over every other candidate, then that candidate should be declared the winner. Suppose that X is declared the winner of an election, then a second election is held. If some voters rank X higher in the second election than in the first election, X should also win the second election because of getting better results the second time. So in other words, you can't get more support and then do worse. in a voting situation. And then if X is declared the winner and then a second election is held, if voters don't change their preferences, but one or more of the losing candidates drop out, X should also win the second election. So dropping out will not affect anything there, as long as it's one of the losing candidates. There is an approval rating system that's out there for presidential elections. Basically, surveys are done to determine whether or not people approve or disapprove of each candidate. The candidate with the most approval votes wins. But it can result in a winner who is not the first choice of the majority. Might be a small group of people that approve of this person, but they may highly approve of them, is the idea. And this kind of thing tends to happen in the House of Representatives. Just to give you some background, there's about 350 million people that live in the United States. You know how many representatives there are in the House of Representatives? Thinking back to your government classes.
2 per state.
Oh, that's the Senate.
Okay,
Yeah.
I knew that was in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on population, doesn't it, per state?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, so it does depend on population. And if it helps, when we just had the last presidential election, do you remember the magic number of electoral votes that were needed?
77?
70 is in the number.
Is it 76?
Actually, another number in front of it.
170?
Getting close.
270?
270. Yep. So to be considered the president of the United States, you need 270 electoral votes, which seems kind of weird, right? Well, that's because in the House of Representatives, there are 538 members. And the amount from each state is based on population. But how do you think 270 relates to 538?
Is it 60%?
It's close to that.
Please just give it to me, please. I'm begging.
You got this.
No, it can't be 75. That does not look reasonable. It's over 50.
Mhm.
It's 50, it's 51.
Yep, just a little bit over 50. But that does create a majority, right? So as long as you get a majority of the votes there, that's what's going to be needed there.
I'm so glad my dad cannot see me take this class because he would be grilling me right now. Oh my God.
That's all good. Hey, I've been there too, if that makes you feel any better. If you want, I can tell you a fun story.
Go ahead. I need a little bit of fun, please.
Yeah. The other day, I was teaching my AP Calculus class,
Mhm.
and we went through this example.
How many classes do you teach?
Too many, if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
But we were doing an example on one of the boards, and it took up several boards to complete. It was like a 17-step problem and everything. did everything perfectly, and then we messed up the addition at the end. So I've been there. Just one of those days, huh?
I was sitting in midterm taking my, I don't even remember what the test was on anymore. It was like eyes and ears, yeah. Middle of it, nosebleed.
Mm,
Not even like a front nosebleed that like bleeds down my front. Like it literally was like running down my
Ooh.
throat. I like
that's rough.
lost it, yeah.
As someone who gets nosebleeds too, that's not fun.
I don't ever get nosebleeds. I was like my first nosebleed in like 6 years.
Okay.
And of course I'm wearing fancy dress
Mm,
that is light colored, so yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I know one of the last times I got it was back when I had a chalkboard in my classroom, and I would use chalk all day long to the point where my hands started to like dry out.
Mhm.
And it got to the point where my hands started to bleed actually from using chalk so much. But not fun.
No.
But any questions on the majority in the House there? Okay. Now, essentially, how they figure out how many each state gets, they basically look at the population of each state divided by the total population of the United States. That's going to give them a decimal of some kind. Multiply it by the 538 number, and then they round it. And that will tell you how many representatives they should have in the House of Representatives. So, an example of this, say Pennsylvania has, I don't think it's quite this high, but I think it's close, 15 million people that live in the state out of 350 million in the United States. So just like that. So you're getting a decimal of some kind. Multiply it by 538. 23.05. So rounding this would be 23 representatives that you would expect to see from Pennsylvania.
They round it down.
They would round it to the nearest whole number.
Okay.
Yeah, so if this was like 23.5, then it would go to 24 then.
I didn't see the zero there, I'm sorry. That was 23.5.
That's all good. But each state will go through this process here. And the only additional thing is that each state is guaranteed to have at least one. Just because, an example of this, you know what the least populous state is in the
Rhode
United States? What's that?
Is it Rhode Island?
What's the smallest?
Okay.
Smallest state by area? Wyoming. Which seems kind of random, right?
Well, I mean, who would want to live in Wyoming?
Well, I mean, fair enough.
I mean, who wants
Yeah.
to live in Pennsylvania, but like, who wants to live in Wyoming?
Last I looked, the population was about 500,000 in Wyoming, even though it's a massive state.
All cows.
Pretty much,
Cows
yeah.
and corn.
500,000 divided by 350 million times 538.
One.
Yep, so technically Wyoming doesn't even have enough for one, technically, but it would round to one
One.
in this case. So that one lonely representative from Wyoming is just doing all the work for the
Fighting
state.
like hell for Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah. Would not be a job I would want, that's for sure. But basically, they do it this way because they don't want to have thousands or millions of people in the House of Representatives. 538, they figure, is enough variation to get the point across.
I think it too, because it breaks the populace out across multiple people. So you're not worried about one or two people carrying the burden and opinions of like your people. You have multiple people, which mean a better scope and understanding of your populace.
Exactly. And there is actually going to be a situation coming up here where that does matter, actually. So you don't seem too thrilled.
I have opinions that I cannot express because I go to a Catholic college and I am on a scholarship.
Okay. Well, hey, as a Catholic school teacher, I understand. So trust me, I totally get it. But here's an example of when not having enough people can cause issues like that, where one person can sway the opinions of others. Because there's more information here about how they determine the remaining seats. But basically, it just comes down to rounding to the nearest whole number. But it's always a hot topic of how to divide the political pie, so to speak. And where politicians tend to get into trouble with this is something called gerrymandering. And gerrymandering is basically the manipulation of populace so that it works in their favor.
This is hell. This
Is
class
it?
is hell.
I'm sorry.
This specific class, not like the rest year, this specific one.
The specific one.
This specific one. I don't know if you know this, I was going to be a political science major.
Oh,
If
no,
I
I
didn't get
didn't.
into extra.
Okay.
So this is like,
Like right up. You have a lot of background in it. Okay.
I wish I did want it.
Well, I apologize. I'm just the messenger.
No, you're fine.
So,
You're fine. You're fine.
but basically the concept of gerrymandering. Have you ever looked at a map of the United States in particular and have wondered, why do the borders look so strange in some places? Have you ever wondered that? Like if I just pull up a map of the US,
It's like county map, right?
well, we could even do county map. Let's do that. How about Pennsylvania county map? There should be 67 counties in Pennsylvania. So map of Pennsylvania by county. I believe we're still considered Clearfield County with where we are right now. But I know if you go down the road a little bit, you're pretty close to Jefferson County there. Ever wondered why the borders look like that? The way that they do? You've wondered?
It's to condense certain political parties into certain places. So because we're a swing state, we aren't as affected. But a lot of the times, like you'll see in red states, all of the Democratic votes are condensed into one tiny little place, or one county or one area, and then everything surrounding it will be red. And they do that so they can control the color of their state and what the vote is presenting as. Even though the populace numbers will dictate something different.
So let me see if I can do it this way. We'll bring up the 2024 election here. This is how Pennsylvania voted in the 2024 election here. Red being Republican vote, which would be going to Donald Trump, and then blue would be Democratic vote going to Kamala Harris there. But do you notice any patterns on where the blue and the red counties are in that map?
Like cities.
Cities.
It's high populace.
hmm Like what city would be here?
Center.
Yep, Center County, so that would be more than likely what town?
That'd be, Harrisburg's in Denver, right? That's,
Yeah, Harrisburg's probably over here
I was gonna say,
somewhere.
it's probably that blue one below it.
That could be. That would make sense.
Yeah. Because it's real close to Philly. I think the one that you were on was maybe Lancaster.
That would make sense too.
Yeah.
Think we are
State college.
State College.
Altoona.
What's that?
I didn't realize it was that big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Center County's really big. I'm like right before, like I'm like right before Lawrence.
Yeah, you're like, what, 20 minutes, half an hour from State College?
Yeah, I'm basically in the middle of like State College and Clearfield. Like it's like the same amount of time to get to either or. And then
Okay.
like Du Bois and Altoona is like the same.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like right in
So there's that. What about this one?
That's Pittsburgh.
the- yeah.
That's Pittsburgh. This one,
Harrisburg, probably.
probably Harrisburg, maybe Lancaster, like you said. Down here,
It's Philly
Philly.
and its surrounding suburbs.
Mm-hmm. So maybe like Allentown would be around there or around there. What about this one?
I want to say like the Poconos, but I don't know.
Yep, you're in the right area.
That's too far from home for me.
I would probably go with either York or Scranton around here. But part of the reason that it may have voted this way, the last president of the US was
Biden.
Biden. Do you know what his hometown was? Scranton.
Not only that, it's a business hub.
Mm-hmm.
And with Trump already, whenever Trump was running, he was already threatening tariffs. But the small businesses in that area, I doubt that they would vote with him.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point. I'm gonna need some life support here.
But because all of the blue counties in number, not in population, but in number are outweighed by red, Pennsylvania is a red state. Even though the population of the blue counties vastly outweigh the reds.
And interestingly enough, with that, the darker the colors are, the more of a difference there was.
The more leaning they are towards that side.
Yeah.
So dark blue would be left leaning. Left, right, Republican, Democrat.
So like left would be blue, right would be red.
And essentially, like the more faded the color is, the more center it is. And that's where a lot of the swings happen here. But the interesting thing I'll point out here, what's up here?
It's eerie.
Erie. Do you notice how it's a very light shade of red? And Erie has a decent amount of people up there.
Erie is also known for the population of LGBTQ communities. So they have like a big conference up there every year.
Okay.
Where they talk about like not like political standing, but like new breakthroughs within the community and they celebrate themselves. They're also known for their pride
Okay.
celebrations, so I know like a lot of people go up there for like summer.
Nice. Okay. I learned something today.
So
But what do you think would have happened here if it didn't swing this way? Given that it has a ton of people here,
Pennsylvania would have been blue.
more than likely it would have been blue, to be honest. Just because it's vastly populated compared to a lot of these deep red counties here.
If we would have gotten Erie and if one of the Pittsburgh suburbs would have been a little bit lighter, we would have gotten it this blue.
But basically, these borders exist here because along the way, politicians get together in however ways politicians get together. So let's just say, for the sake of simplification, that they go out to lunch somewhere and they look at a map of Pennsylvania and say all of the Republican representatives get together and all of the Democratic representatives get together. And they look at this map and they go, how can we mess around with this map here?
How can we screw everybody over simultaneously?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
How can we look at this so that it benefits us the most and basically messes with the other party?
How can we rig it so that we can get it the way we want it and don't have to worry about the general populace?
Yep. Now, some of the borders are not too crazy in terms of shape. Like Clearfield kind of has like a keystone looking shape to it.
Erie's very shapely. I like the shape of Erie.
Yeah. Some of these other ones, like let's find like this one right here. It's an interesting shape.
Or like the really small, like light pink one. Or I guess like
But I'll show you some of the ones that politicians have tried to do before, but they got called out on it.
Shit, Texas.
Well, here's Texas. So
See how small all of them tiny little cities on the very bottom are?
like the little one in the corner.
Yeah.
and how this one here is just one giant county.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see, North Carolina is notorious for that. If I can get the picture to load.
There's been so many fights about gerrymandering forever. Forever. I remember whenever Obama was being elected and there were like actual fights about it.
Oh, yeah. I remember those too. And this is one of those things where throughout the rest of your lives, people will continue to argue about this. It's one of those things where it'll keep coming up. And generally speaking, there's someone with an agenda behind it that will keep bringing it up, regardless of what side it is.
So like did that one, like did their counties change? Like their counties are the same, so like they, like not that they changed, but like the size of them changed?
No, the counties changed.
So that,
County lines.
Oh.
yeah, so they redrew county lines.
Yeah, so in 2010, Democrats held the seat for the state, right? So they had the most representatives under the Democrat Party.
Okay.
And then in 2012, they they re-elected everybody and it became Republican, and all the Republicans went in and changed all the county lines.
Oh.
in the hopes that they can continue to win elections.
So they can hold their seats.
Yeah.
This is a thing that happens every election.
But does it happen to like Pennsylvania? Does it happen to Pennsylvania?
I don't think recently, but we've had Democratic governors for like ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been blue forever. Since I've been alive anyway. I don't ever remember being a red state.
Yeah, I know, like Pennsylvania has voted red.
Yeah, but
But
like
in terms of a
like,
governor.
state government, I don't think I've ever remembered us being red.
Yeah. I don't think I do either.
Mm-mm. No, and that's not happening anytime soon either, from what I heard from this last voting round. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the only guy that we got that was red was Josh Maines for judge, and he's more centrist than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have any power, he's a judge.
Right.
Like,
But here's an example of this here. We'll break it down at, say, the neighborhood level. Say we have a block of houses. Say we're in one of those. Have you ever seen those housing communities where all the houses look the same? And it's basically which number are you in those developments? We have one of these here. So altogether we have, this is an 8 by 8 squares, so we need 8 districts here. Now, some people may just go about this at the old-fashioned way, say going by rows. Just as an example. To determine districts. And say each district gets 1 vote here. Who would win in the top one here?
red,
Okay, red. Second one,
red,
red. Third one,
red,
red. Fourth one,
red,
fifth one,
red,
sixth one.
Democrats,
Yep, so blue,
blue,
then blue, and then blue, right? So if you draw the districts this way, Republican votes win 5-3 is the idea. But as you just saw, and this is an overarching theme with politics, I'm sure that there's some level that makes sense, but in terms of maps, not a whole lot makes sense at times. So we could do columns. We could go that way if you wanted to. If we did the column this way, which one would win here?
blue,
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 blue.
blue,
Blue. Next one,
blue,
blue. I'm gonna go up here. Next one,
blue,
blue. Next one,
red,
red. Next one,
red,
red,
blue,
and red. So which one would win this time?
blue.
Blue, 5-3. And let's just say, because we don't have to do rows or columns specifically.
To get real funky with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's just say, because we have a Democratic government right now in Pennsylvania, let's just say all the Democratic representatives got together and they just decided, all right, what's the best way that we can split this up so that the Democrat Party gets the most representation here in the state. What do you think you would do?
Throw some lines and hope and pray.
Draw some lines and hope and pray? Just as long as we have 8 in each, right?
Mhm.
Should we try it? So that's 4P, so that's not really going to help there.
No, but it knocks out red votes.
It does. What do you think? Should we keep it?
The kids all got red votes.
Okay.
No, I'm not affiliated with any political party. Please don't take away my scholarship, please. I know.
Oh, no.
I have disclaimer.
It's all good. All right, let's try this.
There you go.
That has 8, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I'll be honest with you too, I'm not affiliated with one either.
No.
So I always try to be very neutral with this kind of stuff. So, because from growing up, and all of you know Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
3 things that you don't say in public, you know what they are? At least that's what Linus said. Religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin. If you remember that one. But anyway, we need blocks of 8, right? Okay, let's try that. That's a block of 8. That's a block of 8.
Yeah, but that's only makes block 7 in the corner.
Yeah. So we can't do that.
Give the corner block that bottom red one. There you go.
So like that one.
Yeah, skip it back over to the 2x2.
So like that.
Yep, up.
And then like that.
Yeah, and then
All right.
give that middle one an extra red.
Middle one an extra red. So kind of like that.
7. That leaves them only with 7, so they would need an extra one as well.
The middle one.
Oh no, I counted wrong. You're good. You're good.
That's all good.
You can make it all blue if you just, yep.
Just.
Yep.
Like that.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Those are all 8s.
Okay. So say we draw the boundaries this way. Who wins? Let's just go through this one up here.
Red,
Red. This one here would be
red as well.
red as well. This one would be
Blue.
blue.
Oh.
Nope.
Did you remember too hard? Now we're going out of state.
Okay, how about this one over here?
Blue.
Blue. This one,
Counter.
that's a tie. So that's not really going to help anything. This one is
Blue.
blue. This one is
Blue.
blue. This one would be
Red.
red.
Blue wins 4-3.
Blue wins 4-3 there. But you could see, depending on how we draw the boundaries here, will vastly change what can happen in the election here. So even though all the numbers are the same across the entire state, the way you look at it can produce different results by switching up the boundaries. Any questions on anything with that or the gerrymandering stuff?
I'm sorry, I'm super talkative today.
It's all
I
good.
find it really weird too that like as soon as like my generation came into political sphere, like gerrymandering became a huge topic. Like I don't ever remember anybody talking about gerrymandering before like I was able to vote. It's like so weird that like now it's suddenly such like a big presence that like everybody's aware of now. But it's
Yeah.
been happening for ever. And nobody
yeah.
talked about it before then.
Mhm. Well, and I know from history, one of the big things with that, if we go back to, let's say, the 1850s, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was the boundary of Missouri, I believe.
Okay.
It was the Three-Fifths Compromise, I believe. If you remember that from your history days.
I thought the Three-Fifths Compromise was about the value of a slave vote.
Yep, it is, but it also determined where the boundaries would be for states,
Okay.
like which would be Union, which would be Confederate. But that's an example of how they tried to gerrymander that way back when. But you are right, it's been happening for
Forever.
as
yeah.
long as the US has been around, pretty much.
Yeah.
But any questions on any of the voting theory or how it works with determining a winner? Okay, and that takes care of chapter 12, which, believe it or not, is the last chapter of notes that we'll have. So let's just talk the plan coming up. For some reason, my calendar was trying to download. I didn't even know that could be a thing.
Love that for you.
Yeah. So looking at the calendar, assignment 10 will be Wednesday. There's going to be some chapter 7 homeworks due Monday. We can use that time to get ready for the exam on Wednesday next week if you'd like. I do have the review questions if you'd like them now ahead of time. So I can give you those.
The chapter 7 homework is just Pearson stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, the exam on Wednesday next week should be on chapters 6 and 7.
If it's okay with you guys, could we use Monday's class period as a review for exam 3? If that's okay with you guys, I don't want to like force that on you. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other thing on Monday as well, if you'd like to work on it in class, and this is actually something that you can start working on now, is Project 2. The thing with Project 2, and one of these should be published instead of both of them for you. But because this class is really small in terms of size, I figured it would be easier to give you the online piece of this project. But essentially, you'll go through, and it's going to be creating a presentation essentially, but it's going to be going through different ways of voting. So the one that I got here, what's your favorite cuisine? 4 different choices. And then the way that people voted are given to you here in the preference schedule. And essentially, you'll have to go through the 5 methods on which one would be the winner.
Do we have to present this, or is it just turn it in?
You would just have to turn it in. You wouldn't have to present it.
I appreciate you immensely. You have no idea.
I'll try my best.
I have no idea, dude. I've had to present so much stuff this semester.
Well, like whenever I've assigned presentations, because I'll be honest, I'm not much of a presentation guy, but typically how I've done it in the past, have you ever had to do like an automatically narrated one?
Yes.
That's usually how I would present something like that. But most laptops now usually have like a microphone built in where you can just talk right into it. But I figure that often goes over better than having everybody stand up in front of everybody and doing it that way. And plus, having everybody present does take up class time too. Not really a big deal for this class, but for my online one where I have 30 people, 30 presentations will take a while.
Just a lot less stressful on our end when we just send it to you and it's like the only person that's gonna see it is him. Like, we don't have to make it pretty, we don't have to be it to be great, we just have to get it done and have our stuff correct, and that's it.
Yep, pretty much. And then after that, we'll have to talk final exam for this class. Because right now I have it scheduled for Wednesday the 6th, but if you feel like you're going to be ready before that, we can do that too.
I do know Mrs. Birch, our mentor teacher, is gonna try to look at Monday.
Well, it would be after that.
That'd be like.
It would have to be.
Oh, it's the
after.
next week?
Yeah, it goes, the finals go Thursday, so you see it's Tuesday.
Oh, the first, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I got my weeks mixed up.
It goes over the weekend. Well, I mean, you don't have to do the exams on the weekend, obviously, but they
Yeah.
go over the weekend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know, so she's looking at the 11th for hours on that.
Okay.
So it could be the 11th and 13th for that, and then I don't think we have like a final test in English, do we? It's just our final paper.
It's just our final paper.
Okay, so for us, like, it doesn't.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
our last day would technically be Saturday the 2nd, because we don't, that's
Yeah.
when our papers are. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The longer, the sooner it gets in here, I mean, you take that back.
Yeah.
This week, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of tests. So,
Oh, yeah,
But-
because you guys have to do physics and everything.
Mhm.
Do you guys still have a clinicals? Or is that done and over with? I know you guys physically go to clinical, but like, do you guys have like a clinical course that you guys still have
she
to
gives us our tech clinicals.
Okay. You guys have a final on that?
No.